Hello and welcome to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich and our guest is Marc Louie Salazar, who is a youth minister in the western suburbs, and he'll tell us a little bit more about the involvement he has. Welcome to the program, Louie.
Thank you for having me.
And just before we get into the program, we're going to read Mary's message, but tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I'm a youth minister down here at the West Melbourne for the community of Alliance of the Holy Family International. So we do a lot of youth missions and apostolate for parishes and churches here in Melbourne, and also bringing Our Lady Fatima message as well to families. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. That's lovely. Well, how we usually do the show is we start by reading Mary's message from Medjugorje, and then we'll, because you're new on the show, we'll find out a little bit about you and your background as well. But I'll start with the message from Medjugorje. Message from Medjugorje on March the 25th, 2021. Our Lady said to everyone, "Dear children, also today I am with you to tell you, little children, who prays does not fear the future and does not lose hope. You are chosen to carry joy and peace because you are mine. I have come here with the name Queen of Peace because the devil wants peacelessness and war. He wants to fill your heart with fear of the future. But the future is God's. That is why be humble and pray and surrender everything into the hands of the Most High, who created you. Thank you for having responded to my call." Well, it's a beautiful message, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keeping things in perspective and being bright and positive no matter what comes towards us.
Yeah, and especially like the part of return in prayer.
Yeah,
to pray and don't lose hope. That's pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah. And could you tell us a little bit about your background? So tell us, how long have you been, are you Catholic? Have you been Catholic all your life or your Christian life?
So I was raised Catholic, and I was always been part of a Catholic community. I've been involved in youth groups since I was 10, since 11. And upon moving to Australia, my parents introduced us to a Catholic community, and I've been involved in the youth group. But I've only really had my full Catholic experience just after university. I had a conversion when I attended a youth conference called Believe. And from then on, my whole perception about the Catholic faith and what we're really speaking about really changed my whole perspective. And I haven't looked back since. I've been in the service of the church, working with youth, really close with youth, and youth groups and parishes on bringing the true message of the Eucharist and the true message of Our Lady. So that's what I've been busy for the last 9 years.
Yeah.
And at the moment we're actually running youth group in the West Melbourne. So
okay, and it's with the Alliance of the Two Hearts, is it?
Alliance of the Holy Family International.
Alliance of the, oh, beautiful. Yeah. And before that, how did you get back into your faith when you sort of lapsed a little bit, you were saying, or something like that? Was that what you were saying?
Yeah, so when I was around 18, I was really arrogant I was very stubborn and arrogant. So, and for me, I really need to know for myself where the truth of the faith lies. And so I was kind of church hopping, as you would say. So I would go to the Anglican or born again Christian churches to really try to discover where Jesus is really present. And upon doing those things and actually attending the conference, I realized that it's always led me back to the Catholic Church because of the Eucharist, Jesus in the Eucharist. And that journey actually started when my grandmother passed away. One of her messages to me before she passed away was take care of my mother. And I really was on this kind of journey of understanding what's so important about family, because I was such a stubborn child. So from then on, upon going to that conference, I really had a change of heart and really devoted my life to living more of a Catholic value, Christian value. And then I discovered the value of the Eucharist, the value of Our Lady, the value of adoration, and the Rosary. Yeah, so that's been a journey that's
And with the rosary, do you get bored? Do you ever feel like it's a bit monotonous? Because a lot of people say they think it's monotonous, they're just mundane, they're repeating the same words over and over again. What's your take on that, and how do you deal with that? Elevate that.
Yeah. So my parents are they're very devout to the rosary, to Our Lady. So when we arrived in Australia, they've commissioned us to pray every day. Yeah. Even till today, every 6 p.m. to pray to pray the rosary together. Yes, it was repetitive at the start, but I think that played an overall big part of me and my conversion. I think my mum praying and my mum and dad praying the rosary have accumulated enough graces for me to really discover the truth. And yes, it is a repetitive prayer, but as all actions that are repetitive, it comes with a big reward or a common goal. So for me, especially praying the rosary is yes, repetitive in a sense, but if people only knew the true graces that comes with it, which is endless, the peace and the love, and as they would say, to Jesus through Mary. So and the rosary represents that, holding Mother Mary's hand all the time, and especially Mother Mary. If we pray with Mother Mary, with her intercession, it's just endless possibilities of what God can do for us. Yeah, it's the Mother of God speaking directly to Jesus in our behalf, which is really great. Yeah.
That's right. And what are your thoughts on? Because often people, like when they're searching as well, they're always looking outside themselves for a religion or for something to believe. They don't go within themselves and understand that God is inside each one of us and that He created each one of us as this magnificent creation of His own, this magnificent human being. And He's in us, but He's also around us as well. So it's both interior and exterior. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that that we have a soul. We have a soul, and the fact that we're created to feel and touch speaks volumes on everything around us. That's why we're able to feel, and I think having that deeper kind of conscience on appreciation for God's creation really speaks volumes of that we are created to be very spiritual people.
Beautiful. We have to go to a break now. You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. We're here with Marc Louie Salazar, who is a minister for the youth as well in the western suburbs of Melbourne. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And also we're also discussing Mary's messages, and we're just talking a little bit about the rosary earlier. And the thought about the repetition, I've also heard as well that, what is it? The learning is, what's that expression? It's the mother of learning. Repetition is the mother of learning.
Yeah. Okay.
But also the mysteries and...
So meditating on the mysteries of the rosary, it really makes us, relive the suffering of Christ, especially in the sorrowful mystery. It's like that we're there. So it's in meditation of the mystery, we relive the graces and what has happened through those mysteries to be able to reflect on it deeper, and also with Mother Mary's guidance, especially there. Yeah. And
also in your researches and everything, have you ever looked into levitation? There has been saints that have actually had their faith so strong and powerful, they've literally levitated from the ground.
Yes, I know of a saint. I've forgotten her name, but she's a blessed. She's not a saint yet, but she's a blessed. I knew for a fact that in Bologna, Italy, there's this 15-year-old that to receive the communion you'd have to be of age of 15, but she was under the age of 15. But she desired so much to receive Jesus, as not because she wanted to follow the trend, but she really believed on the presence of Jesus in the Holy Eucharist, that when she went to adoration, she was actually levitating. Wow. She levitated to the point that when she was levitating, a priest saw her levitate, and therefore the priest has allowed her to receive the communion there and there.
Wow.
And upon receiving the communion, she actually passed away.
Oh,
so it would have been a deep love for God that,
Yeah.
she was just in massive ecstasy of the faith. And therefore...
Have you ever levitated?
No, I'm not levitated. I hope to levitate soon. That would be nice.
Well, I guess we have to be in a really strong state of faith and
Yes,
love and
yes.
peace and holiness and joy.
Yeah.
Be a good thing to aim for.
Yes, we all strive to be.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought I might just read some of Mary's messages and just talk
Yes, of
about
course,
them.
yeah.
So the first sentence, Our Lady said, "Dear children, also today I'm with you to tell you, little children, who prays does not fear the future and does not lose hope." So it's a powerful message there of you don't fear the future and you don't lose hope if you pray. So you're in a different state
Yeah.
of being than
Yeah.
the average people who are just watching mainstream media
Yeah.
news and things like that.
Yeah, and also the fact that don't fear for the future and don't lose hope. I think one thing as Catholics and Christians we need to realize God has already won the battle.
Yes,
And
100%.
God has already won the battle, and that the enemy's aim is to take us out of the battle and bring us to our own failures and demise and fall. And I think one thing we need to realize is that if we stay fervent in prayer and with the love of God and through Mary, that we're able to continue on through whatever you're going through. It's like what they say, joy in the sorrow, right? The currency of heaven is graces, but to get the graces, you must endure the pain. That's also relating to almost very similar to Our Lady of Fatima's message, which is prayer and penance.
Yeah.
So for me, especially with that message, it reminds me the fact that we've already won the fight.
That's
We
a
just got to
beautiful
continue
point
fighting.
to emphasise
Yeah.
it's already been won.
Yes.
We're just watching it play out.
Yes, and we just need to be
Watching
part
a
of this.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of this army to just fervently pray and persevere to be able to see the great ending of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
wonderful
Get out
long
the
movie,
popcorn.
right? Yeah. Gotta get that popcorn.
Or carrot sticks.
Yeah, carrot sticks. Much healthier.
Yeah. And then Our Lady said, "You are chosen to carry joy and peace because you are mine." So we have a responsibility to be carriers of joy and peace.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's a good responsibility.
Yeah, and also the fact that as creator, as human beings, and as God has given us the gift of free will, we have always the choice of just bringing joy to others and bringing peace, regardless of what's happening in the world, which is very questionable nowadays.
Yeah.
But to the fact that as for us is we choose to be a source of joy and peace. That's a very beautiful thing and very hard to come by nowadays as well. Yeah,
Exactly. It was interesting. We went to just to the petrol station, and this guy had all the barriers against this door. And then he saw me and he goes, "Oh, do you want me to open it for you?" And he worked there.
Yeah.
And he was all in the suit, the uniform or whatever. And I said, "I'll accept a bit of kindness. Thank you." And he goes, "Yes. It's hard to come by these days, isn't it?
That's
it's
true.
good when people
It's
say
true.
start.
And we gotta be mentally aware about those things,
Yeah.
so we know that it becomes a practice, because
Yeah.
it doesn't cost much to be a good person.
Yeah.
You know? And there's a lot of love there. You know, they said that love is completely limitless.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing.
You can never love enough. Like it's always
that's
infinite.
True. That's
yeah.
true. That's
You
true.
can never say, I've done enough loving. It's
Yeah.
it's good. And the thing is, I think it raises your vibration. It raises your spirit
Yes.
when you love anyway.
Yeah, and
regardless of who's right or who's wrong. If you're the one loving, it's
Yeah.
you're above both of those right and wrong.
Yes, and you gain that sense of clarity of not saying that to be better, but to just be human in what
Yeah.
God has intended you to do, to
Yeah.
bring peace and joy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think often people fight about, I said this, you said this.
Yeah.
It's I. But, in the end, if you just love, it doesn't matter. That fizzles out and you forget what you're fighting about anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You see that person as Jesus, another Jesus in the world.
And that's what we're intended to see Jesus in everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, Jesus suffered the most, and we have to visualize that to be able to see that in everyone else. Yeah.
And Jesus loved the most.
Yes.
And so if we see him in others, we are giving them a limitless platform to keep loving and being infinite
and
people of love.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And that gives them more, and you're believing in other people as well when you do that.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, we're about to go to a break now.
Awesome.
You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich, and if you've just joined us, we're here with Marc Louie Salazar, who is often known as Louie, and he's a youth minister in the western suburbs in the Catholic Church. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
So we'll go through the next message Our Lady said, which was, I've come here with the name Queen of Peace because the devil wants peacelessness and war. He wants to fill your heart with fear of the future. So that brings us back to focusing on peace. Only peace.
Only peace, yes. It's funny when you say that. The only thing I can relate to is being Our Lady being called the Queen of Peace is during, even as well, she was at peace during the Passion, right? She didn't speak up, and she tried to be the best her way, be at peace and silent for the fact that she had to offer up her only son. And that speaks volumes. That imagine not just Jesus sacrificing himself for us, but also Our Lady had to sacrifice her own son, for the sake of the world, which she already knew what was to come. So especially relating that, and relating to the part when the devil just wants chaos. I think especially with this message, we have to cling to our mother. We have to cling to Mother Mary.
And also, when it is chaos and confusion, if you're ever getting it, because we all go through it, everyone has their time when they go through chaos and confusion. But when you go through it, you know it's not from God, because God is love and peace. So that's the immediate definer.
Yeah, and especially what's happening around the world now. We have to have more clarity on realizing what is right and good, which is sometimes blurred now, as things are being pushed here and there, or what's right, what's wrong. I think we really need to realize, especially for us Christians, the value of Our Lady. Our Lady's message is especially just to hold on the best way we can, which is, I definitely suggest the Rosary. The Rosary is a powerful weapon against the devil. That's,
And the other thing is, if you have an inner peace and an inner happiness, then if you don't have that, then you know you're not on the right track.
Yes. And that's
they're signs.
And those are the disturbance that we intend to not be able to justify as much. So we definitely like to be more aware of that. Yeah.
And then Our Lady said, but the future is God's. That is why be humble and pray and surrender everything into the hands of the Most High who created you. Thank you for having responded to my call. I think that's beautiful. It's like surrender everything and trust, like completely trust that God's got this. It's happening. It's sorted. It's been done. Just enjoy the ride.
Yes, just enjoy the ride. Join the sorrow. It's a bit it's a beautiful message. And I think we need to hold on to that. Especially like you said with the inner peace. It's like not a lot of people ever get to have that inner peace and really discover the beauty of the world in that kind of sense. And even like was earlier when I was saying in the show, we need God in us, and we need to know that God is in us, so we're solid 100%. But we also know God is outside us as well. Like in creation, you look up at the moon and the stars at night and just watch everything move across. The moon move. It's just beautiful to look up and know that that's God's creation. Yes, and it's planned, and it's very detailed as well. I think we forget that God has designed everything to the dot, right? And that's why we thank Him for it. And I think when we embrace those creations, like the ground and then the plants and how do they grow, it's not so much of a question of why, it's a question of amazement. How can this be? And I think having that internal piece of knowing that you're created by God and the beauty of image of God, right? Image and likeness of God, that we embrace that also through externally as well. Yeah.
And we started off with God gave us the breath of life.
Yes.
So we need to remember also about breathing, like deep breathing. Breathe in God. God is in the air.
Yes,
breathe
God is in
God
the air.
in, you know.
Love is in the air.
Love is in the air. Every time I look around. To breathe God in. You know, if we breathe God in, like deep breaths of God, we've got God in us. We've got Him in us already.
Yeah.
But even more illustrating, like in a way to illustrate, is you breathe God in as well.
Yeah, and we can discover that by going back to the church, you know, in the Blessed Sacrament. When we go to adoration, we experience God one-on-one, and He tells us in adoration that He loves us, He cares for us. And knowing that value that we have in ourselves that we didn't know we are, sends a million messages. I know for a fact, one of the priests told me that one soul equals a whole universe. You know, and that speaks message of just you and I equals to so many connections to God, you know, and His beauty. Yeah. So
tell us a little bit about adoration and what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah. Adoration is I think that's a most beautiful place to be able to have a conversation with God, apart from also from receiving Him. So for me, I try to live the best, as I would say, the care lifestyle, which is confession, adoration, rosary, and the Eucharist. And I try to complete these 4 things every month or more than twice a month to really strengthen my connection with God. And I feel that through through conversing with God in adoration, just telling Him and offering up the things, my imperfections, my shortcomings to Him, and He makes me feel known of my value is amazing. It's amazing.
So you feel like you pour your heart out, and then you get filled up again.
Yes. You know, it's the question is now, are you half empty or half full, right? So definitely in adoration, it recharges you of your value. And that's the most beautiful thing that I think any Catholic or Christian should experience. Yes.
And often we're always talking, but in adoration, I guess you're quiet and you're able to listen to what God wants from you as well.
If we need to sleep to regain our energy, we also need to be in silence in adoration to regain our spiritual energy and to be able to continue on in living our Christian values and Catholic lifestyle. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Beautiful way of putting it. Anyway, we've come to an end. Would you like to come back next week?
Yes, I definitely would love to go back next week.
All right, beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we might even touch on a little bit on, we'll see what we'll touch. Confession maybe a little bit as well. We'll see what your thoughts are on that. Thank you so much for watching the program. You've been watching Spirit of Life. Our guest was Marc Louie Salazar, and I'm Mirella Rich. See you again soon. God bless you all.
Bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow, blow, blow till I be but breath of the Spirit.